Greetings everyone, thanks for joining me in yet another one of my reviews. Again, this time we are covering a CCTV product. This one comes from Sovmiku, and instead of a single camera like I normally do, we are doing a full system. This is an 8-channel wireless NVR, and it comes with 4 pan, tilt, digital zoom cameras. And we'll get into all that in just a bit. The first thing we want to do is show you how the unboxing went. And then we'll come back to that and dive right into this. So let's take a look at the unboxing. Alright, that's my speed up version of an unboxing, probably the quickest you'll ever see from me. And right now we are going to show you just how quick this system comes together. It's all pretty much plug and play. So I've already got the NVR here connected to the monitor, the network, and a mouse. And now I'm going to plug in the power and get this going. See it's booting up there. And each one of these indicates a camera, so we'll show you that later. But right now it's booting up, and you can see on the monitor here how that's going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn all these cameras on at one time and see how quick they connect to the system. I think the NVR is still booting up. Give it just another minute or so there. And
system startup finished.
Okay, Sovmiku. It does have some audible it does have some audible instructions for you here, and I'll try and tone the volume down on that. But let's turn these cameras on and see how quick everything goes together. There, they're all turned on at the same time, and we should see them spinning up here in just a bit. Yep, here's one spinning up, 2, 3.
System starting. Connecting. Read.
Okay, welcome to our configuration wizard. It will help you to configure the basic settings on. Let's
Connect to router successfully. Connect to router successfully.
Okay, look at that. Look how quick that booted up. Everything's pretty much plug and play. Like I said, these things are ready to go out right now and start working. But we're going to go into a few details before we actually do that. All right, now this is unusual. This is something that I did not expect. But right now you can see I've got the 4 screens up from these 4 cameras. But look what happens. I'm going to move into, this is how you change a number of screens appearing. I'm going to go to an 8-camera view, and look what we have over here. This actually, let me click on that. That is not even a wireless camera. That is a PoE camera that I have on my network. It's a PoE pan tilt zoom camera. And when I talked to the manufacturer, they said basically PoE cameras do not work with this. But this did. I can't say it's going to for everybody because obviously all PoE cameras are not equal. This is an ONVIF camera. That's probably one reason why it worked. ONVIF is a protocol that basically most manufacturers try to work with. But I was totally surprised that that showed up. And again, that's on my network. That is not wireless. So if I were to disconnect my network from this unit, which I can do, by the way, it'll work fine off network once it's programmed. If I were to disconnect this from the network, that camera would disappear. So I just wanted to show you that because it's totally unexpected. And actually over on the side, I don't know if you can see it, right over here, that's face detection. And again, that's something that these cameras do not support. My guess is the reason it's there is because of this ONVIF camera I have does work with face detection. But I really don't want to go too much into that because the manufacturer does not support that. It's just a pleasant surprise that it works. Something fun to experiment with. Let's go back. As you can see, I can make the show screens differently with the big screen here and smaller screens there. But to make it easy, let's just go to the 4-camera screen. These are the ones that are part of the system. And while we're in that, we're going to right-click and go into main menu. And I've already set up my password and things like that. I've gone into the network. That's the network right there. And that's working fine. I've set date and time. And playback, that's when you want to play back. I don't have anything on the hard drive now, so it's not going to play anything back. And system, let's go into system, general. That's a language, and when your hard drive, how you want it to proceed. If the hard drive gets full, it's in overwrite mode right now. Backup, I believe you can transfer some of this to a USB drive, and I'm not getting into that either right now. Display, this tells you what is going to appear with the image. Like it's going to show bitrate information, channel title, which we haven't programmed it yet. It's probably just going to be cameras 1, 2, 3, 4. You can actually name them for the particular camera. And gives you you can set the resolution of the camera. Advanced, what do we have in advanced here? Here's your hard drive information, tells you the capacity of it and what status it is. You can also, if you change hard drives, you can format it here. Upgrade, I assume that's firmware upgrades. You can check periodically if there's any upgrades in it. Let's go back to the main menu. And in fact, let's go back to the cameras here. And as I told you earlier, you can just double click on a camera and it's going to pull it up. We should be able to control the pan and tilt on this as well, but I'm going to wait until we have these cameras set up outside to show you how that works. So, and that is actually what we're going to do next. We're going to go out and set these cameras up. Then after that, we'll get into how to set it up with your phone and how to control the pan tilt and digital zoom. These cameras are pan and tilt, but not optical zoom, either digital zoom, like you pitch out like you would on your camera, on your phone. That's how the zoom would work on this. It's not an optical zoom. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go outside and set some of these up, and we'll be back in a flash. All right, there we have a quick install. These are real simple. There's what, three screws you need to put in, and very easy to connect. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. First, I want to point out something. You're probably not going to be using this LAN connection. So, in the package, it comes with a little cap like this. Although you're going to want to, since that cap is made to go around another cable, there's a hole on the end of it. So what I do, I will put this like that, and then we're going to put this cap over that, and that's going to help considerably keeping that connection dry. It's not foolproof. You could probably do a better job than I just did. And then the other one, you've got your power. I'll plug this in, and this is going to power up now, and you'll probably hear it talking, saying a connection and things like that. And while it's doing that, I'm going to I am going to wrap this with electrical tape, like so.
Connect to router successfully.
Okay, you heard that. It's already connected to the router. That's how quick it was. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go inside and continue this little discussion. Be right back. All right, welcome back. And first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the playback to view some of these sample videos I've done over the past couple days. So first thing we want to do is right click on the mouse, and we're going to go down here to playback. And once in playback, we'll click on that. And up here, there's several ways you can do playback. Common playback is probably, like they say, the most common. You also have sync playback, where it'll put all the cameras on one timeline. You've got a couple of others like Smart Express, Smart Search, Face Search, which doesn't apply for this because these particular cameras don't work with Face Search. Same with Car Replay, I believe. But anyway, get right into it. Going to go up here, and we're going to first we'll do some nighttime stuff. 2008, I believe. 2008. That's the time, and I've got all four cameras marked for viewing. And then over here, we're going to click on the date that this recordings were made. This one happened to be from last night. So we're going to click on that, and down over here you see playback. We're going to hit playback there, and it brings up all four of the cameras from last night. Okay, you can see me coming out of the door right up here, and there goes the panning camera, or the tracking mode. In case you're not aware of it, all consumer cameras, regardless of the manufacturer, they actually slow the image per second rate on nighttime viewing, so they can get a little bit more light into the camera. And when they do that, they're going to not quite get as good an image during the day as during the day. That's why you might see just a little bit of a blur, because the slowdown in the image rate, and then you're having the camera moving That's going to cause it to blur just a bit. And a little later I'm going to show you what it looks like when the cameras don't move at night, when we don't use the tracking. Okay, now that was all IR mode that we did there. Let me back out of this and go back into playback, and we are going to go at a different time here. All right, hit the date again. And I believe these sample videos here, you're going to see the white light come on. The cameras are set to when they see motion, they'll turn on the white light. Here I come out of the door again, and right there the light came on. So now we have a white light that is visible to everybody. And that's one reason why I don't like to use it at night, because you're giving away the location of the camera. It does help clear up the picture, and you get a better picture, but again, you're giving away the location of the camera for anybody to take a bat to it or steal it. And down in the lower right corner, you're seeing another camera, light just kicked in, and it's tracking. And these images are better than the ones with just IR, because you've added more light to the equation, and that is going to help with the resolution of the images. Okay, back out of there again and immediately go into playback for the third time on a night one. And 23. These images here are going to be without the tracking. So you're going to see, you should see some, okay, apparently I've already walked past this camera, and now I've come into the field of view of this camera. And you can see the images are much sharper now that we're not tracking. Any movement of the camera at night is going to degrade the image quality, simply because of the lower image per second rate on the camera, and then the addition of moving the camera. So as you can see, that one, that was a very good image right there. I like that. So you might want to consider disabling tracking at night. If you want to see what's going on, it's fine, not a problem, but you may degrade the image a little bit. And that's not just from this manufacturer, that's from all manufacturers of consumer cameras. That's one way they compensate. All right, now we're going to check out the daytime images, and just by the nature of how cameras are made, and daytime you're not going to be needing to slow down the image per second rate or anything. The images are going to be far superior. And I'm not saying anything bad about the nighttime images, because they're the best you're going to get on a consumer camera. Daytime images are great, so let's take a look at some of them, okay? And just like the nighttime shots, we're going to go into playback here. And this time we're going to do some daytime stuff. I believe it was around 10:21, I think. 21. Let's give that a shot, see what we get. And come over here and hit play. And by the way, down here you see a timeline of all the activity that happened during the day. And if you run your cursor over it, it's going to show you that activity in a little screen. It might help you do a search, but since we know the time, this is the best way to do it. We'll start that, and right off the bat, we've got our landscapers doing their thing. And yes, they were willing targets. I made sure that they were okay with doing this. But in any case, I might attempt to try and cover up their faces. So let's just take a look at, watch this for a second, and you can see how the camera is following them. And you see that little yellow square there? You can make it so it's either going to be there or not going to be there. In the settings, you have the ability to enable that or disable it. Like on the bottom camera, that one was disabled. Okay, now this one here, that's going to go back to after a set amount of time that you set in the settings. That's going to go back to its Damon point, or the point where you want the camera to always be looking at. And this one here, now we've let's double click on that image and we get the full screen image of that. And that is a darn good image. I'm really impressed with that. Let's double click on that again. Oops, I'm sorry. Left click on that. And we're back to the original screen. And that gives you a great idea of what this system is capable of doing in the recording mode. So I'm going to hit up window here, and we're going to go back to the main screen just like that. All right, it gives you a great idea of the type of images you can expect from the system. And I was really impressed with the daytime images. But we're not done yet. This video is quite lengthy because of everything we're covering, and I'm going to try and speed up my normal process on showing you some things. What we're going to do next is we're going to go into some settings on the NVR to show you some of the different things you can do with it. All right, let's try and quickly go over these settings. We don't want this review here to exceed a half an hour if possible, but for those of you that know me, that's going to be hard to do. I tend to be long-winded on some of this stuff. Let's quick go into main menu. I think we've covered some of this when we first started up today. Main menu, playback. You can go into playback mode. Custom view. That's where you can move cameras around on different screens. So in other words, I can move this one to peer down there and this one to move down there, things like that. And you can do it, depends on how many cameras you have. That's an easy way to move them around. Date and time, you can go in here to set your date and time. And network, I'm not going to talk too much about this. In fact, I may even gray out some of this so you don't see all this information, but this is where you're going to get your network information. IP channel, let's go back here, IP channel, and you're going to start here on the NVR talk. Yeah, you hear that? It can be quite annoying after a while, but it only happens when you're in this page. There's several different things you can do here. You can add another camera, which we'll probably try and do a little later. And you can go in and modify different cameras. Like, let's see, what happens when I click on this? This is the device address and the port number and things like that for that particular camera. You can also go in here to channel title, and this is where you will change the name of each camera. Like the one camera was side, another one was driveway, and then a lanai dock. This is where you would do that. And something I want to point out, repeat set. This is something very unique, and actually it's my first time trying to do this. Many of you know that I served 20 years in the CCTV industry, and with all that I was using pro cameras, so they're a lot different than consumer. But here's something that consumer cameras have now, and for all I know, maybe the pro cameras have it now too. I've been out of the industry for about 10 years. But you can you can make one camera act as a repeater. In case you need to get further out, then your connection to the NVR will work. You can have camera 1 out to a reasonable distance where it'll work with the NVR. Then you can move camera 2 further out, and it'll use camera 1 as a repeater to the NVR. I'm not going to get into that anymore because that's a whole new review altogether. I may or may not do, but I think that's real neat. I like that. Let's exit out of this. There's all kinds of different things you can do in this page, but because the NVR is being kind of annoying to me by all its talking, I'm going to exit out of this, and you'll notice that she shut up now. So that was system alarm. Let's go into intelligent alert. This is the camera number, which corresponds with like that camera right there, and you're enabling it, so you're going to be able to detect, looking for motion and things like that. Now you can either do human detect or not use human detect. Human detection is going to be looking for kind of a human body. It's going to try and use artificial intelligence to look at that motion and see if yes, it is a human body. There's pros and cons to that. Pros is it's going to reduce false alarms probably tremendously, and I'll show you why. Let's back out of here and look at this for an example. Well, look at this camera here. You see these trees moving and over here and over here. If you do not have a human detect on, chances are those are going to be tripping alarms, but you could also go in and set different areas to look for that detection. But in this case, just an example, this could be tripping a motion alert without human detect. But with human detection on, as soon as that person gets in this area, the AI is going to try and make sure that's a human person before sending out an alert. And the good thing about that is it's going to help reduce false alarms. The bad thing about human detection is, let's go back into here. Where are we? Oh yeah, we were an alarm here. The bad thing about that is it slows up the alert sequence a little bit because it's taken that time for AI to determine it's a human person. So it may not click right away, or it may drop out some on you when it stops seeing that body. Whereas if you had human detect off, like so, you could still go in to region setting and do this. This area here, where you see the red, if it sees motion in there, no matter what it is, it's going to notify you. But if you do human detect and then go in and do this, this is not a good example because I should actually move that camera back. Let's quick do that. We're going to PTZ here. We're going to move that camera back a little bit. Okay, back out of that. Go into alarm. Now, with human detect, you can go into the rule setting, and you've got this way of watching for the human. I can readjust it like that and like that. And if a person comes walking in, once it gets in this area, it's going to start looking to confirm that that's a human person as opposed to like a bunny rabbit. And you can change these angles. I can say I want to do that. Use this instead. And I could move these around like this. And then when a person comes into this area, you'll start using AI. And here's also where you would tell the system, if it sees motion, to notify your cell phone. If you uncheck that, it's not going to send that that notification to you. But we're going to do that. And here is also where you would enable the camera to make noise when it sees motion. And you can go in to here. No, wrong one. Is it this one? Yeah. You can go into here, and these are all the different things you can tell the camera to say. It'll actually say in plain English, alert area, please leave. Hello, welcome. Danger, depth, pay attention to safety. I guess that could be by a pool. A howling alarm, a bell alarm. I mean, there are various different things you can do with this.
Alert area, please leave. Hello, welcome.
And let's back out of that. Come on, out of there. Advanced hard drive information. And this will tell you the version, and you may see this grayed out because I don't necessarily want you to see all that. Log. This is a full log of what's been happening. It'll tell you when the camera sees different things. When you rebooted, if there's an error, it'll show you the error there. You can import or export like an SD card. Let's exit out of this. Color settings. You can change settings for these pictures you're seeing here. We'll cancel out of that. PTZ control. We're going to get back to that in a minute here. Output adjust. That's for like the monitor here. Now watch the top of the screen. If I do that, it's going to adjust for down. I guess that would be used for if you're using different size monitors instead of normally 16. What is that? 16:2? No. Anyway, widescreen. Let's back out of that. Net detect. That's if you didn't automatically detect your network when you first started up, you can go in there and do it manually. Log out. You can log out and still see this, but not use some of the controls. You can shut down or you can reboot. But let's go into PTZ control here. This is where you would be able to control what the panning and the tilting of the camera, like that. We'll go over this way a little bit. Let's go back. And this also has some really neat features. You saw how in the video it was tracking the person. Well, we go in here to detect track, and we have that enabled. So if a person was walking through here now, this camera would move with that person. Daemon time. That means you would set an image like this one right here. We'll set the daemon position. And now, if a person were to walk through this and come way over here, once it loses track of that person, after 10 seconds, it's going to come back to this view. So your camera will always go back to this view when it's done tracking. You can set the sensitivity for that, and you can set the amount of time before it goes back to that position. And I have it 10 seconds here. There's a few other things you can do with this. You can do a tour. So you can teach this to maybe start doing a tour right here. It'll start here, it'll come over here, then it'll come down here, then it'll go over there, then it'll start all over. That would be a tour. Or you could do an auto pan. And I'm pretty sure you can set the limits of the auto pan. But for an example, this will show you it's going to go all the way over to the right, then it's going to go all the way over to the left. And it's just going to keep doing that all day long. And like I say, I believe you can set limits so it doesn't look at the stuff way over to the left or way over to the right. Let's stop. Let's let it come back. And back it goes. So you can do a heck of a lot with this camera. And let's back out of that now. And that, for the most part, shows you some examples of the different settings you can do. One thing I forgot to mention, and I want to quick show you, but in order to do that, we have to go back into the menu. So let's do that. We'll quickly go into the IPC perimeters. And here you can get your, this is strictly for the camera now, this is not for the NVR. So you can select the camera you want to look at, say, let's go to 3, and you can get the IP address, the build date, serial number, things like that. Or we can go into image set. And you can do a lot here. You can change, it'll show you the camera that you're on. And you can change your brightness, contrast, saturation, just a ton of different things you can do. You can work with the day-night settings, and you know, whether or not the white light comes on or not. But just a ton of stuff, and I wanted to show you that real quick. Here we can go in advanced, and just like they say, advanced. I mean, there's a lot of stuff here that even I wouldn't screw with, but it's there if you know what you're doing. So let's back out of that. Okay, now we're going to show you how to view everything from the NVR on your cell phone. First thing you want to do is go to the iOS or Android store and load the TRIS Home app. That's TRIS Home. And I've already got it on mine, so we're going to dive right into it. We'll tap on the app, and it's going to bring you up the screen with a plus in the middle. You're going to tap on that plus, and then it brings up a list of all the devices that this will work with. Down near the bottom you have Wi-Fi kit. We're going to tap on that, and then it's going to show you a little tutorial on how to get your NVR up and running before you try and do this. In my case, I've already got the NVR up and running, so we're going to skip these recommendations and go right to this screen where it's a camera view. It wants to see the QR code up there. You see that on the screen? So we're going to show the phone that QR code, and look how quick that did that. It already found it on my network, and for that matter, it's already connected, which is incredible. We're going to click on these cameras here, and up they come. Right off the bat, we got 2 popping up there, and we're waiting for 2 more. There's another one, and at the same time we're receiving push information from the NVR because of the activity the cameras are seeing. Let's double click on this image here, and I'll give you a quick tutorial on what these icons here can do for you. Very first one, first of all, you'll see where it says SD. You can change that to full high definition if you want. But in the case of the phone, I usually leave it on standard def, because when you go to full high def, it takes a lot more bandwidth to get them high definition pictures to your phone, and things work a little quicker when you're in SD mode. Down below that, you've got local playback. You tap on that, and it brings a taskbar or a bunch of thumbnails here that you can look at what these recordings are showing. That's from last night, actually. So we can let's go to there, and we're back on daytime. Anyway, we'll back out of that, and then down below you've got capture. That means if you tap on that, you're going to take a snapshot of this image you see on the screen. That snapshot will go into your gallery on your phone. Then you got voice intercom. You can have a two-way conversation with whoever's out by that camera. And next to that you have recording. It's similar to the capture, but it's going to record a video clip from the time you first push that button until you stop pushing it. It'll record that video that was on the screen there. And down below again, PTZ. You've got pan, tilt, zoom. And let's show you that. I'm going to the left. Let's go to the right. I can go down. I can go back up. And remember, this does not have an optical zoom on this camera. So it has digital zoom, which means you can use your little fingers here to zoom in like that. See how I did that? And I can move it around. I'll go back to full screen here. Real easy to get a zoomed in image. However, it's just digital. It's not optical. So it's not going to be quite as sharp. And up on the top right, you're going to see a little gear icon. You push that, and here's all your settings. You can do everything that you can do on the NVR, you can do here. But I prefer, I'm not going to go over every one of those because you're pretty much going to use your NVR for that. So it's there if you need it, like in case you're on a long trip or something and you don't have access to NVR, you can make some changes on your phone. In any case, that's a real quick tutorial on the app for your phone. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to move into the office to the PC, and we'll show you how to get the information on your PC. Stay tuned. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and move on to the PC. I've already got the VMS software downloaded on my PC because I use it for other things. But for you to find it, look in your instruction manual, and you're going to find the web address that you can go to download it. And once you get it downloaded, it's pretty simple to get going. And we're going to show you that right now. Here we go. First, we're going to go click on VMS, and you're going to see a warning from the computer maker saying this is from an unknown publisher. I am not going to tell or recommend that you do it because it's up to your own individual conscience. This is a security matter for you to decide, but I've never had any trouble with VMS. And I'm really not sure why it's an unknown device. So I'm going to hit yes, and I'm already in the system, so I'm going to hit sign in. And we're going to go up here to Device Manager. Double click on that. Go down to the bottom left here and hit Manual Add. Here we're going to name it Sovmiku. You can name it anything you want. It does not have to be that. Group, I'm changing to NVR. Login type, I will be using IP, but in the instruction manual, they are probably going to recommend you use Cloud ID. But because this PC is on the same network as my NVR, it's recommended that I use the IP address. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put the IP address in. Go down to username. We're changing that to my personal username and password that I have in the NVR. And that username is review. And right here, I'm not going to give the passcode away, so enter that, and we're going to hit save and continue, and then cancel. And right off the bat, you see it listed right on the bottom here. And the good news is that it's connected. So now we're going to come back up here to home. And over here to live view, like that. And we are going to click each one of these cameras here. There's one, there's another one, there's another one, and another one. That's all of the cameras. If I want to, I can double click on it to go full screen. And down here on the bottom it gives you options on how you want the screen to display. I'll go back to quad mode here. And that's all to it. There's several things you can do within the software, but the basics are here to get you up and running. And we're going to go ahead and move on to our next item, which is we're going to try and install an additional camera to the system. For our final lesson of the day, we are going to add an additional camera to the NVR. As you know, this particular package with the NVR came with 4 cameras. They were PTZ cameras with digital zoom. This particular camera is another Sovmiku camera, and it's really the only other model that will work with this system. And this particular one has optical zoom. That's why you see 2 lenses here. I did a review on this last year, and I really liked it. So I want to add this to the package and see if it actually works. They say it will. We might as well find out if it does, huh? Okay, let's go into the setup here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the channel set. Click on that, and then we're going to do a quick pair right there, and at the same time we're going to power up this camera. And hopefully the rest is automatic. Come on, camera, power up. You're going to be hearing the camera talk here in a minute. And in the background you hear the NVR talking.
System starting up.
The device is pairing. Please wait patiently.
Okay, what we're doing is we're looking for another, oh, there it came on.
The 5th channel.
See, right there. And actually right up here as well. So I would say it is paired. Let's back out of this and see what if we have it. I'm going to hit apply, then we're going to hit exit, and right down here, right there, we have our package. Okay, in our closing, basically I just want to thank you for joining me in another one of my reviews. Many of you stick around and watch them all. Some of them, this is the first time for you, and I hope you'll come back and join me for more. In the meantime, you guys take care of yourself, and hopefully we'll see you again in the future. Take care.